Goal Getting Podcast, Episode 15. Hello, goal getters. Do you have these negative, limiting beliefs that keep you from getting the goals you set? Well, let's listen to the Goal Getting Podcast and turn them into positive, success-seeking beliefs and thoughts. Change your subconscious mind and get the goals you're set. This is Tony Woodall with the Goal Getting Podcast, and we're going to show you how. You can succeed. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook and 30-day free trial at www.goalgettingbook.com. Over 150,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Hello, goal getters. This is Tony Woodall, your host with Goal Getting Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about how defending against multiple attackers has prepared me for life. I did a speech in my Toastmasters recently. It was an impromptu speech. I wasn't scheduled to do a speech that day, but we had speakers drop out and they needed somebody to speak. And I had no clue what I was going to be speaking about. But I had been thinking about multiple attackers. Why I was thinking about multiple attackers, I don't know. But one day, riding through Barton on the way to the office, and sometimes you just think about, what would I do in a given situation if I was attacked by multiple attackers, or if something happened on the subway. And, when I'm on BART, I always am aware of what's around me and try to keep an eye out for, people, because you never know when somebody's going to go off and do something that you probably shouldn't do, and you may have to defend against one, maybe two or three people, depending on the situation. And the good thing is I have been trained for that in the martial arts. I am a student of martial art, Japanese martial art, and I have studied many times how to defend against multiple attackers. And it has helped me not just in hopefully being able to defend myself in the event that happens, but when you look at it, I was thinking about how life is kind of like defending against multiple attackers, because you do have that kind of happening, not in a death type situation, life or death situation, but in a business situations or family situations, or just having many things to do in all of those situations combined, and you're always defending or working on multiple projects, multiple things within your own life. And that includes goals. We talk about goal getting, and one of the things, you typically will have in your daily processes, 5 to 7 goals that you're working on at one time, not just one. So, that could be family goals, business goals, career goals, personal goals, all working within the same time frame that you're trying to complete them, and you're really handling all of those at the same time. And it's kind of like a multiple attacker scenario, in my opinion. You've got all of this going on, and you're trying to be aware of everything at one time, trying to keep things rolling and moving. So it's kind of like a multiple attacker scenario, though a lot safer, so you don't have to worry about people clubbing you and beating you up and things like that when you're just working on project goals, though I have had some folks get a little upset when, things happen. But, most of the time it's just trying to coordinate all of the goals that you're working on, again, whether they're personal goals, career goals, and things. You have all these different things around you. So I'm going to let you listen to the speech that I gave. Again, it was something off the cuff that I kind of made up at the last moment, thinking about some of the items that, I'd been thinking about just in my own mind, about how with all the goals and working a full-time job, trying to do a podcast, trying to build a side business and doing things that I enjoy, Toastmasters, which is something that I totally love doing. I love speaking. I love mentoring the people in the club that ask for it. And I have coaching clients that I work with, and accountability clients that I work with to help keep everybody moving. And all of those things, you really have a full thing of life that you're doing all at one time, and trying to keep those all working Right now, I've been also trying to get ready for my daughter's wedding, and that's taken additional time away from what I have otherwise, but something that I'm cherishing because my daughter's getting married. So you have to look at all of these things kind of like multiple attackers and keep your eye on everything at the same time. You have to be aware, not so much keep your eyes on them, but be aware of everything as they're turning, everything as they're moving around about you, all these different goals. It's not something that you can focus on one thing or all things at one time. If you try to do that, as in fighting multiple attackers, you're going to get hurt. You're going to lose. And, the ultimate goal is going home to your family, your friends, and surviving any type of an attack that you have. My feeling is that, if you can do that in your, practice for defending against multiple attackers in your daily life, and think of all of your tasks and goals and things that you're working on in your life as that, just think about it in a, more of a martial or strategic type of scenario when you're working on these, and don't focus and don't get bored or, what's the word I'm thinking about? Don't get toned into just the one or all of them. Try to do them all at the same time, because you can't. You have to focus on the most dangerous and the most important thing first and get that done and go from there. As John Lee Dumas, one of my mentors in podcasting, has said over and over again, focus stands for finish one course or follow one course until successful. So focus is equal to follow one course until successful. So work on that goal, but you've got those other things working in the background. You got your eyes or your mind on those, but just focus on that one important part as you go through life. So anyway, let me let you listen to it. And if you have comments after the show, if you would go to our show notes at goalgettingpodcast.com and let us know what you think of the show and what you think about defending against multiple attackers in this scenario, putting it kind of into a goal-getting, goal-setting mentality. I would love to hear your thoughts. So go to goalgettingpodcast.com, episode 15, and you can leave the show notes there, the comments on our show notes. And we'll be talking to you in a little bit. Have a good listen, and we'll be right back. The title of my speech today is How Defending Against Multiple Attackers Has Prepared Me for Life. My first trip to San Francisco was to attend a Tai Kai, the Japanese martial arts convention that I attended back in the 80s. And I got the opportunity to train with and meet the Grandmaster of the martial art that I studied. One of the most interesting things that I did in my studies of martial arts was learning to defend against multiple attackers. Hopefully we'll never have to do that, but it does come in handy, not just in fighting in a martial arts scenario, but also in life. It teaches us a lot of things. This is my Grandmaster. This was after the visit here this was in 94, I believe. I was much younger. This was at the presentation when I earned my 5th degree black belt in that art that week from my instructor there. Hatsumi Sensei is a very good teacher. He's now about 26. He's going younger in years. He sports long purple hair these days, and he wears it well. I'm not going to tell you he doesn't, because he's already thrown me around many times. But that being said, I'm also going to, this is way back Wednesday apparently. This is a picture of me working on a friend of mine's neck. And I don't know if any of you remember one of my earlier speeches, I think my icebreaker, I talked about a doctor, one of my fellow students that became a pain medicine specialist. That's him, Crawford Barnett's now a pain doctor. He can thank me for it. He gave much more than I gave him, believe me. Multiple attackers. When we fight in the martial arts, we want to learn how to defend against everything that we need to, because it helps us be prepared for what we're going to need to do. Now, I want you to imagine that you have multiple attackers, and I don't have weapons here, so we'll pretend that, and visualize. This is a chance for you to visualize that I've got one attacker over here, Aaron with a club, and then I've got another one over here with a knife, and, maybe another one that's unarmed getting ready to attack me. I've got 3 attackers coming at me at one time. And that's kind of the way life is. We have a lot of things going on, whether it's doing project management, working on goals, managing children, whatever it is, you have a lot of different things in your life that you have to be aware of and that you have to pay attention to. So if I've got these attackers that are ready to, take me on and do what they want to do, there are certain things that I have to think about in this fight. The first thing I have to do is understand the main goal that I have in that encounter. Typically in a fight scenario, my main goal is to win, is to go home to my family, to myself, to survive that altercation. One of the things that we learned is that there is no winner in a fight. One of the things that we're taught, if at all possible, our main goal in most altercations, if we can, is to escape, to get away. So right now, and in most situations, if you have the opportunity and you don't have the ability to confront a particular situation at a given time, what you need to do is look at the best escape alternative you have and run and get away. Now, this is not a self-defense class, but that is one of the first things that I teach. If you can get away, you need to get away. There's no point in you fighting somebody if you don't need to, because there are no winners in a fight. But the main thing that I want to express in that when you're fighting or defending against multiple attackers is you have to be aware of everything around you and of all your surroundings. I cannot just focus on one thing. I can't sit here just because he's got a club. I can't start focusing on him, because what's going to happen? Elaine is going to come up from behind with a knife, and I'm going to be dead. But again, that's just like life. I can't focus on one thing at a time, whether I'm doing project management, whether I'm doing business analysis, whether I'm working on goals or watching kids. I can't just watch one, because believe me, if you have children, the other one will go running off in the other direction. So you have to be able to pay attention and be alert to everything around you. The other thing that teaches you when you're working against multiple attackers is that, number one, you have to analyze your situation. What am I going to do? You have to watch all of your opponents. You have to be aware, but you have to act. You have to do something. You can't sit there. This isn't a boxing match where you have 15 rounds of hopping around, and going around there. Pretty soon, one of you is going to get tired. And since there are 3 of them or more than one of you, odds are it's going to be you. So you have to analyze your situation, analyze it fast, figure out what you're going to do, and do it. Just like goals. You have to have a goal. You have to set an action plan, and you have to do it. The other thing you have to be aware of when you're fighting multiple attackers, and that you should do in life, is use your assets. Now, if I'm fighting somebody with a knife, my biggest asset is what? Anybody got an idea? Nope, not speed. Nope, not thermal gun.
Bees.
Bees! No. Distance. When I'm fighting somebody against a knife, they can't hurt me with that knife if I'm standing over here. So my biggest asset is distance when I'm fighting somebody like that. Another thing is I have getting into weapons, I have tools. I want to make sure that I have something that can keep somebody far away from me if I need to. I'm not getting undressed. Don't get excited. But you have weapons. So just like in a fight, if you're fighting multiple attackers, you want to be able to use what your assets are, whether it's if you've got a jacket, you've got a weapon of some sort, you've got a belt. I can defend very handily with a belt, believe it or not, in a true fight. Right? But the point is, look at what you have on your assets. What skills you have, what things you can do. There's a lot of things that you can do. Distance is one of your biggest assets in a fight, by the way. It will help you win many. The other thing that you learn when you're fighting multiple attackers is to choose the hard one or the closest one. Again, if the guy's unarmed and they're over there, I don't really have to worry about them first. You know, the other thing I have to do is focus on the hardest or the first to find out which one will meet my objective or be the easiest for me to get to my objective. If my objective is to escape or to reach my goal, what is the one thing that I need to do that will help me further my goal? What action do I need to take will get me to the point that I need to get to? If that is to escape, then I want to make sure that I take out the closest one to the door so I can get to that door. Okay? So having multiple attackers teaches you not just how to fight, but also what to do in life, how to approach life, whether it be goals, projects, anything that you have. Think of it like multiple attackers. Be aware of your surroundings, analyze and act, use your assets. And the most important one is understand your main goal. And most of you that heard me talk about goal setting and goal achievement, knowing your why. Why do I want to win, or why am I doing what I'm doing? Because that's what's going to keep me alive in a fight, knowing what I need to go home to, or what I'm trying to accomplish in life. So know your why, know the main goal, because that will keep you alive in life and in fights. Hey, goal getters. Hope you enjoyed that speech I did. It, again, is titled How Defending Against Multiple Attackers Prepared Me for Life. And again, it's, related to goal getting. We want to talk about, how we can look at that in that particular light. And the points I want to get across are your main goal, know your why. Why are you doing what you do? When you get into any type of multiple defender type scenario, any kind of fight, really, you want to think about, what's the ultimate outcome, and that's to survive and make it home to your family, your friends, and, be alive. The other thing is, when you're aware of all of your surroundings and what's around you, it helps you understand the focus that you need to have. You keep your goals in mind. You keep things not necessarily on concentrating on one thing specifically, and not ignoring all the things around you. But you want to keep things around you, in perspective. Then you have to be aware of things that you're working on in other areas, but you want to focus on the things that, work on what you have for your main goal. What are you trying to do to reach your goals? And you need to work on those things that will help you attain those goals. Those are the main things that you have to work on and concentrate on, the important or the most dangerous, if you think of it that way, the things that will achieve what you're trying to do. The other thing that, the points that you have to think about is analysis. You have to analyze the situation. But as I talked about in the speech, you don't have time to get into a total, complete analysis and a breakdown of, every piece. You have to analyze the situation quickly, decide what you need to do, and then do it, and then act. And that's really the way it is when you're working on goal getting. You want to look at what you have to do. Don't spend a whole lot of time doing the analysis. If you do, you're going to end up focusing and thinking about one thing, and then something's going to sneak up on you and get away from you. You need to analyze the situation, see what the danger points are or the most critical points are. Again, those things that work towards your goals, and do those things. Concentrate on those, not the fluff around you. Jared Lichten, who was on one of our earlier episodes, you may have heard him talk about one of his quotes, and I love this quote, is imperfect action is better than no action at all. So doing what you need to do to survive, to achieve your goals, is better to do some of it than just sit around and analyze it and try to figure it out and find out what's the best time, when's the best, method and things like that. You want to know that fairly quickly so you get the gist of what you're trying to do, analyze the importance of things, and then act on those. You also want to use your assets. When I talked about the best asset in a fight, any fight, unless it's a gunfight, the best asset you have is distance. And even in a gunfight, the best asset is the distance. If I'm 5 miles away, obviously nobody can shoot me, unless they have a bigger gun that'll reach that far. But, if they've got a pistol, being out of the range of the pistol is going to protect me. If somebody's got a bat, trying to slug me, the best, distance is, far enough away where they can't hit me, or close enough to them where the impact will have little effect, or I can disarm them with that. So there's a couple different ways of looking at it, being close and being out of the way. So use your assets that you have, social media, whatever it is for your goals, whatever your goal is, use what you have to accomplish that. And the most important asset that you have is your time, and you have to manage your time wisely. Again, I talked about choosing the hard one or the closest one first. But you have to watch, everything, or be aware of everything. But again, the important thing is do the most important thing. Work on the thing that will help you reach your goals. That is the key. And understanding what your why is, why you need to go home at the end of the day. And, why, what's driving you to achieve those goals. Again, in a fight against multiple attackers or even a single attacker, my ultimate why is I want to go home to my family and friends and survive. So, this is what multiple attackers and defending against multiple attackers taught me in life from just, practicing that in a martial arts situation and trying to accomplish that. So think about that as you're working on your goals. Think of them as not as attackers that are trying to hurt you, but just, multiple situations, attackers of your time, your energy, and your assets. So go out there, get your goals. If there's anything we can do, let us know. Again, go over to goalgettingpodcast.com, leave a message on our show notes on the comment section. Let us know. You can always tweet us at Goals Podcast, or me personally at Tony W CMB, and we will get back with you and let you know what we can do. If we can help you, let us know, and we look forward to chatting with you. Have a wonderful day and make it a great day, and we'll talk with you next week. Thank you. That was great music. That was Baccarat by my good friend Mark Sensinger. If you really want to have some excellent music for a wedding, for bar mitzvah, for any other type of event, you should contact Mark at marksensinger.com. Mark is a wonderful composer out of the Boston area. Mark has written pieces for symphony orchestras, Boston Pops, several different events in the Boston and New England area. I highly recommend you check out Mark at marksensinger.com. See if he can't come up with something good for you, whether it's wedding, birthday, anniversary. Have him create a lasting and a wonderful score that will help you understand how important that particular date or event is for you. So thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. And that's Baccarat from Mark Sensinger at marksensinger.com.